My name is Kimenyi Tombote, and we want to, together with my friend here, Mr. Boniface Luchumi, he will introduce himself, and we welcome you to this channel. This is a new channel where we will be doing analysis of the trading political issues and matters to do with education, because these are things that touches the lives of the many Kenyans and citizens in particular. And we will be concentrating much on the trading political news and how they are affecting our lives and how they are shaping our lives. And we will do our best to keep you updated. So please subscribe, press the bell so that you can be notified whenever we upload a new video, of which we will be doing as often as possible. And then don't forget to share and also to press that like button and give us feedback. And now today I'll be the host, and we want to start with a number of things that we feel they are of concern to the ongoing bipartisan talk. We will look at the topics, and because Uchumi is more conversant when it comes to those matters, he will be responding to a number of questions and doing the analysis. But remember, you can also give us your views in the comment section. So, Mr. Uchumi, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, take us through. Now, we have a number of things. We have so many agendas in this bipartisan talk.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of it, we have a history where the last four presidents have been having this kind of talks. We had Moi discussing with Odinga. You can remember when KANU was rebranded to the new KANU to accommodate.
Yeah.
We had Kibaki. You can remember the Nusu Mkate. There was another handshake. Yeah, there was another handshake between Uhuru, and now Ruto is also going the same way. But now, what comes in my mind is about the agenda. Now, because of time, I want us to discuss a number of agendas, starting with how effective do you think the bipartisan talks will be when it comes to the cost of living?
First of all, let me say that the opposition is now sitting in the government. So they are on the table discussing on these matters. And when I look at the issues that are on the table, let us begin with the first one that you mentioned, the cost of living. I think it is a good thing that that one is on the menu, but I also ask myself, yes, the cost of living is there. Among other agendas, the main reason as to why the cost of living is there is because it's the only one that is touching on the common man. Do you agree with that? Mm-hmm. If you look at the others, I don't see how they really concern the normal man. In short, I'm saying, this person who is sleeping hungry, this person who is having a very hard time earning a living, earning some income, supporting their needs, how will reconstitution of IEBC help such a person? How will looking at maybe the boundaries, or the county boundaries, adding more counties, how is it going to help this person? So, in my view, this one has just been put there. But I don't think that these two parties which are, on the table, are they ready to do what it takes?
Mm-hmm. But Mr. Boniface, I think we are looking at it this way. The people who are discussing about the cost of living in that bipartisan talk,
yes,
are the people's representatives.
Yes.
Another person may argue that these are not the people who are feeling the cost of living, high cost of living.
Yes.
But remember, they are elected to represent people. And now, do you think it is not a good thing to have it on top of the menu to be discussed? Yes, it might be the only one that is touching the lives of men. Yes. But don't you think it is a positive gesture, yes, to put it on top of the menu, so that even as they discuss things that we may feel that they are their personal interest, at least they will have a tackle on that, because it is the thorn in the flesh as we speak.
Sure. Now, I agree with you. Actually, it is a very timely topic. It is a very timely agenda. But the reason as to why I think it will not be addressed is because, one, it was put there purposefully to win the Kenyans to think that actually these talks are for them. But in the real sense, if you look at it, 80% of these talks, 85% of these talks is about the political class. It is about their needs. Because I believe that even that agenda, if it was not there, the Kenyans will not think, will not value, will not place a value in this talk. But now because they are seeing the cost of living is there and it has been put number one, so that one makes the Kenyans interested. Because yes, it gives them hope.
And now that takes me back to what happened. It is not long ago since we had the BBI bill.
Yeah.
It is still fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
And now when I look at the bipartisan talk and the BBI thing, there was a very big legal battle when it came to BBI, to an extent that the judiciary, after going through the High Court, the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, they said they nullified the BBI on the basis of lacking the constitutional ground. And now we are dealing with bipartisan. Do you think that bipartisan talk, however sweet it might be, it has any legal battle, has any legal ground constitutionally to support it, or it is just a matter of consensus? Because we can end up using a lot of taxpayers' money on the bipartisan talk, which is another BBI in disguise, only to end up losing in court after money has been spent. And we are talking about billions here. Is there any constitutional ground to support the bipartisan talk? Because however sweet it might be, by the end of the day, it is about the rule of the law.
I think you have brought up a very important point. These bipartisan talks, at the end of the day, what they will come up with are recommendations that, according to the views that we have collected about the cost of living, about the constitution of IBC, this is what needs to be done. Now, this recommendation will take different parts. There are some that will require the parliament. So the MPs will just have a motion, maybe amend a law here and there, introduce a policy here and there, and actualize that particular recommendation. But if you look at some of the proposals that have been sneaked into these particular talks, some of them require a referendum. So if it requires a referendum, that means in the long run, these bipartisan talks will still be expensive. Look at the BBI.
I'm looking at it this way, Mr. Luchumi, that a number of things do not require bipartisan talk. Introducing subsidies to the petrol, if we are addressing the cost of living, it doesn't require bipartisan talk. Lowering the price of unga and basic commodities does not require bipartisan talk. Don't you see the danger? After, yes, you have said that we are collecting views, but I'm looking at it this way. We spend billions. The money that can be used to subsidize petrol or fuel or even unga, only to collect views that will be challenged and not go anywhere. Because I can remember the case to do with BBI. In fact, the parliament okayed the whole process. There was county assemblies meeting the threshold. There was public participation in this case. But the court outruled, the judiciary outruled the BBI. Don't you think we will end up with the same, spending a lot of money and then only having things that are not doing anything?
It is true that maybe at the end of the day we may end up in the same road. But now it also depends. I believe that these people are now informed, and that is why I talked of the recommendations. Watakuja waseme to address 1, 2, 3 hii ambayo ilikuwa kwa agenda yetu, we need to do this. Then this is a long process. Then they will have to sit down. Higher, when it comes to this one, let me give an example. For example, I saw a proposal on the presidential term limit. This is the one that will require a referendum. Then, for it to be actualized to become a referendum, there is that process that it must follow. So these people, at the end of the day, they will have to sit down and check. So, okay, we have this recommendation. So for us to actualize this recommendation, these are the parts constitutionally that we require. BBI ignored some of them. And that is how they end. Walikuwa kipiga kifua, kusema kweli. They used a lot of money. There was a lot of chest thumping. You remember Baba saying reggae will not stop. Finally it stopped. So you see such actions, out of that, forcefully, we have numbers. We had numbers.
And do you think the government has that is Kenya Kwanza? The bipartisan talk has the goodwill of the current regime, or it is just a matter of buying time because now we are one year. In fact, we are past 1 year now down the line. The government might be buying time because that is the only way to keep the opposition's mouth shut. That we are doing bipartisan talk. Do you think it is having the goodwill of the current regime? Or it is, because I also heard the opposition saying that this time round we are not quitting, no matter what.
No matter what.
Can't you see danger there? Or
there's no danger. There's no danger because politics is about interest. So if that is why there's a lot of jittery, there's a lot of suspicion, there's a lot of treating each other with contempt. This is because it is a game of interest. If the opposition interest will be taken care of in that bipartisan talk, they will be interested. They will be part of it. The government also, there are also other things that they also feel they need the opposition. So they need each other. And that is why up to this point where they have now reached, this is now a serious, this one is now a serious, battle of interest. And don't also forget that there are also external forces. So it's like these two guys, you remember there were some talks. Oh, they have met, they have already had a handshake when they had gone outside. So there are also external forces. So external forces, politics of interest will determine at the end of the day.
Because I can see it this way, that the whole being, Raila and the Azimio side, is only interested in topics about the cost of living. Kenyans are only interested with the cost of living at the moment. I can see the Azimio side using that to make sure that they retain the control of the street. So that in case the government does not obey, then they will go back to the street saying that we are trying to negotiate about the cost of living. Even when in actual sense, it does not require the talks. Do you get the point? So in my own opinion, and I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know if you will agree with me, that these talks that we have seen from even the previous governments and heads of state, it is about the personal interest, the interest of the agenda, control of the government institutions, and maybe the personal future in politics. And therefore that is why sometimes they control. Even if you look at the agendas that we have, most of those agendas are about the future survival of the politics. Because again, with the time you have seen that if you're not careful in politics, you can easily become a political fossil, if not an ancestor. And therefore, I don't know, and that is why I want your opinion concerning this, because you are more knowledgeable.
You see, when I look at the opposition, for their interest to be taken care of in these talks, they must have leverage. So that is why they must have that agenda that is at the heart of the people. We are fighting for you. The cost of living is high. Mafuta iko juu, petrol iko juu. But at the end of the day, when I look at the opposition, their main interest are the elections. That is why they keep talking of the servers. That is why they keep talking of the constitution of IBC, because maybe they fear that maybe even in 2027 the IBC may not be very neutral. So that is why they think that maybe if they focus on that, they might have maybe an IBC that is favorable to them.
Yes, but before we go to the idea of the IBC constitution and restructuring of the IBC, let us look at because now you have mentioned it. Although we have left the idea of the cost of living hanging because we believe it does not require the bipartisan.
I agree with you.
Let us go to the audit of 2022 presidential election results. Do you think it is necessary? Let us be honest. Do you think it is necessary to spend the taxpayers' billions to do a bipartisan talk
to review a past,
to do the audit of 2022 presidential election results? And if it is done, how useful do you think it will be to the Kenyans? Because everything should be about Kenyans. How do you think it will affect the lives of Kenyans? And assuming that we realize that the Raila won, or the servers revealed that Ruto won, a decision that was upheld by the Supreme Court. the IEBC and even the observers echoed what IEBC said.
Yeah.
Do you think it will be worth it to spend billions only to confirm what the independent and constitutional bodies confirm?
So actually, mimi I'm going to go on another plane. Wacha niingie ndege nyingine. Ukiangalia vizuri maneno, you know the opposition is still living in the past. Already the government Kenya Kwanza is already preparing for 2027. You are still, you have not made any step. Unajua hata saizi brother Kim, kama umewachwa na mrembo, ulimkatia akaingia box akakuwa wako, then siku hiyo yenye mlikuwa sasa muone mfanye sasa official, bibi akatoroka, sasa hamjafunganishwa, akaenda na mwingine unaona. Then 1 week later, 1 month later, 6 months later, you are still crying. Sasa wewe unanikosa ni mimi, ile bado mimi ndo nampenda ile ya ukweli. That is what the opposition is doing. Unaona? Sasa hata kama bibi alienda, it is now an opportunity for them ya kutafuta mrembo mwingine, na pengine hata watapata mrembo mwingine mzuri kuliko yule mwingine. So actually my advice is just one. Actually, let me just advise the opposition. They should just leave the 2022 elections. They should just bury them and start preparing and planning for 2027. Period.
But don't you think that the argument is valid when it comes to benchmarking?
No.
Maybe they want us to learn from the past.
It is valid, but at the wrong time. This is a recipe for chaos. What if now the servers are open and they are auditing and they prove that Raila Odinga won the election? So what then?
Maybe he will benefit from Musumkate.
Musumkate.
Or maybe he will take the position of Gachagua. The Gachagua. No,
you become the deputy president.
But now, you know, I was looking at it. My concern is about money because this country is really struggling.
Yeah,
and
so,
now, when we are, I think when the money is being spent, we should also be very careful. Because again, if opposition really cares, although in Kenya now the politics is about interest and what I'm gaining, if the opposition really cares, they should also be keen on the things that they are bringing on the table. Again, I'm not saying the government is doing better because we have a lot of things to complain about the government. But bringing things and misusing money, because by the end of the day, these people are getting very good allowances. And as we speak right now, we have people who are already in opposition and striking deals with the government because it is about interest. That is why you saw when the government and the opposition agreed on a bipartisan talk, you saw people like Kimunya now making a lot of noise because they wanted to be part of the bipartisan talk, because whatever comes out of the bipartisan talk, they will be the immediate beneficiaries, not Kenyans, but the participants of the bipartisan talk. So instead of spending that money, when we have kids in school who are struggling because the free education money has not been given to schools, you know, we have principals who are really struggling to pay the bills, to pay the suppliers. I think something needs to be done.
I agree with you.
Yeah, something needs to be done. And let us not look at anything depending on the political affiliations. If you look at it with a skewed eye, then you will tend to get the wrong perception and you will not be straight when you are looking at the matters. So again, now let us go to the restructuring and the construction of the IEBC. That one, I can say it is the key, because again, for electoral justice to be there, they have to agree. And at the moment, there is no IEBC. And we know that if we need a by-election today, if we need another election even in 2027 without the proper IEBC in place, I don't think we will have a government or we will have an election. Because the constitution has it that it is only the IEBC that can conduct the business. Now, what is your take? Because as you know, I think they want to have all the commissioners. The Kenya Kwanza also want to have all the commissioners. You know, any part, everybody wants to have the IEBC. Because that is the referee. And they want to have the referee. If anything, they want to produce the referee. So what is your take?
First of all, the reconstruction of IEBC is a process. And it has a timeline. In fact, pale kwa comment section, If you know the specifics about maybe the timelines of replacing the chairperson and the other commissioners, please inbox ama tuandikie hapo kwa comment, because I think when it comes to a chairperson of the IEBC, this is a very senior and a very serious person, a very serious individual in our electoral system. And I think sijui anafaa kureplacewa either 4 years to an election ama 5 years, I'm not really sure, either 3 or 4, I'm not really sure. So unaona ya kwamba even as they think about that, they also need to keep in mind that this restructuring of IEBC has its own timelines, and at the same time it is also expensive. Actually, at this point we are remaining with 4 years. When are we going to put them in place? When are they going to begin? Are we replacing all of them? Are we replacing a half of them? No. There's a big challenge there.
I agree.
There's a big challenge
because
there.
I think we need an IEBC that we will...
Then, just a minute before
yes.
you comment. Yes. I think if there is a person who has really contributed to electoral bodies restructuring being changed over the years, is Raila Amolo Odinga.
Simply because the results do not favor the outcomes. Let us don't go there. But that is the truth.
Okay, let us also tell him the truth.
Yeah.
I think also Raila Amolo Odinga, apart from engineering the reconstruction,
an electoral body,
you should also be able to use this body.
I think an electoral body to him is good if it declares him the winner. If it does the contrary, then it should be disbanded. But don't you think again on the bipartisan talk, because I think it is a mockery to democracy. After spending billions of Kenyan shillings conducting elections, it is a process. Paying everybody, the PUs, crafts, DPUs, logistics, and everybody.
Yeah.
Only people not to respect the outcome of the elections.
Yeah.
And what they do, they don't accept that we have the losers and the winners. And after election, we go somewhere. Maybe under some trees, and then start sharing the powers that you will take this. You will take. Don't you see it as a mockery of to democracy?
It is.
And the constitution.
It is because it's just like football, eh?
Yeah.
The problem with this football. The problem with this football. We have the referee.
Yes.
Who is serving both teams.
Yeah.
A referee who is half team A and half team B, and each team is pulling them towards the end. Are you getting my point? Even when you look at developed countries, developed nations such as the United States, they also have election grumbles and
sometimes even
disputes. But as long as we don't have full trust in our institutions, then it becomes very tough for them to serve us in a good way.
I think the change should start from our mentality. Because trust is a matter of choice.
It is.
You can choose to trust me or not to trust me. That is up to you.
Yeah.
But as long as what I'm doing is in line with the provisions of the Constitution, then I don't see any challenge. But now the problem is we can have the IEBC in place. Just like the example you gave here, we have a football match between two teams. Then after the referee has declared everything, then the two teams go somewhere and see. And now they start agreeing. You take the number of goals, I take the points. You see, that is what happens. So that when it comes to choose who won, you have the goals,
I have the point.
then I have the point. So the whole thing creates a state of confusion. I think it is the high time that we should start reconsidering, and before we even reconstruct the IEBC and do whatever we want to do, let us start by reconstructing our brain and our thoughts.
Another challenge. Another challenge.
Yes, very fast because we don't have.
Another challenge is there are a lot of political games that are played towards the election. There's a lot of arm twisting. There's a lot of deals that are cut within these corridors of power. And that is what makes IEBC even the most dangerous job in this country. Especially kama returning officers. My friend, wale vile walikuwa wanapotea nini. So there's a lot of arm twisting, and that is why trust becomes a very
An
rare
issue.
It becomes an issue
Okay.
because of the games that are played.
So we shall continue with the discussion
Yes.
in our next discussion.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
We stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe, share, press the like button and also the bell so that you can be notified. Please tell us your opinion and we will appreciate. God bless you.